Artists, let's talk about the situation with Meta AI scraping our artwork, essentially stealing from Instagram, what we know so far, and what you can do in the moment. The biggest takeaway is don't panic. I know things are happening so fast, the information is all over the place, and there's no clear-cut answers because we really don't know where any of this is going, and it's happening very quickly. I don't recommend that you do anything rash. For example, on Instagram, instead of wiping it clean, I would recommend making it private. Because Meta's AI has already done its thing. We can't turn that back, but we can put ourselves in a position where our work is not public. Then maybe after the dust has settled, you can take a step back and start making decisions about what's the best fit for you. I don't think it hurts to wait a little bit and hear from people who are staying on top of the situation and see how things go. For artists, the most upsetting part of the situation is that our work has been taken without our permission. In the EU, you do have the option to opt out, but in the US, because we have different laws, you cannot opt out. Meta basically trapped us into this situation. So there's the morality of the situation, which is truly upsetting. But we have to separate that with what we're actually going to do and how is that actually going to impact us as an artist. I've been hearing so many different reactions to this. Unfortunately, I think the ones we hear are the most drastic, dramatic ones. Somebody I know who has worked in tech said that actually the biggest impact of AI on artists is most likely going to be in terms of jobs. We already have heard that the animation industry is going to dramatically increase AI in the production of films, and there's going to be a lot of jobs lost. Now, for an independent artist who's posting their work on Instagram, the immediate impact is not going to be seen right away. I know people who have told me, I don't care. It seems like the artists who have been put in really difficult situations are the ones who are higher profile artists. Sarah Andersen, who is a wonderful comics artist, she wrote an op-ed in the New York Times that I highly recommend you read. It's about somebody taking her comic style to completely shift the subject into politics that she was very upset about. There's also the fantasy illustration artist Greg Rutkowski, who's known for these dreamy, fantastical illustrations, especially of dragons. His name is typed in the most frequently out of any artist. And he said in a New York Times article that he has noticed commissions for book covers on his end have slowed down. So if you're not a well-known enough artist that somebody would think to type your name into the AI, you probably won't have that immediate impact that those two artists had. I can tell you that Art Prof is not going to be leaving Instagram. I don't like it, but we spent years building a following on Instagram, and to just stop, I don't think I can make myself do that. Depending on how things go, I may change my mind later, but for now, we're staying. An option that a lot of artists are exploring right now is the Cara app. Art Prof is on Cara, and it's so early. It's very difficult to measure how Cara is going to do for artists. I know one concern a lot of artists have is that it's going to be an artist-only platform, as opposed to Instagram, where you have tons of people in all different kinds of areas. So concern is that if Cara is only for artists, it's going to be tougher to find, for example, buyers of your artwork. And I know they were slammed by, I think, 700,000 new users in a very short period of time. For that reason, I'm not having any expectations about that app being perfectly smooth. I get it. So if you're in Cara, I would not be so quick to judge them because it's just too soon. I know some artists are concerned that Cara seems like it's just for digital artists, people working in concept art and, say, fantasy illustration. I don't think that's always going to be the case. Here's why. In terms of artists joining an app, It's just so much easier for an artist who already works in digital to get on there. For example, I'm a traditional artist. For me to get my artwork onto the app, I have to take photos of the physical paintings, the physical sculptures. And that's enough for me to take way longer to get onto Cara than the digital artist. I remember with Instagram, it took a long time for museums and galleries to get on there. I would expect to see the same thing. So don't be so quick to judge it as a platform. It's just way too soon. Some specific things I have noticed about Cara is that it is slow to post your image. I've noticed that when I've made posts, it doesn't show the post immediately on my portfolio page, and it's slow. It can take a couple hours in some cases for it to post. So if you post and it doesn't show up on your portfolio page, just be patient. The main thing to understand about Cara is that there are two different kinds of feeds. The first one is the portfolio, and that looks very much like the Instagram grid. Seems like a lot of people are posting finished pieces as opposed to, say, an Instagram story where I might just say, hey, here, look at my gross brushes. And then there's a timeline. That's a place where you can post updates. A nice thing about Cara is you are able to post links in those posts. And when you create a post, it gives you the option of whether you want to make it a portfolio post. And when you post, it's automatically a timeline post. And then there's a little button that you can hit if you also want that post to your portfolio. The important thing to understand about Cara is that they do not have an AI feature, and Glaze is integrated inside Cara. In the most simple terms, Glaze is a software that essentially scrambles the image of your artwork, so that way when the AI tries to absorb it, it comes out looking like something else. On the left-hand side is an illustration from Alice in Wonderland by John Tenniel. Without Glaze, if somebody wants to use Tenniel's style to make a dog, you can see this dog image does have that style of John Tenniel. Now, if you apply Glaze to your artwork and you're trying to get an AI image of a dog using Tenniel's style, you can see with Glaze, the style of the dog, which is AI generated, does not look like the Tenniel style. More information on that in the YouTube video description below. So when you post to Cara, your image automatically has Glaze applied to it. I know people are suspicious of Glaze, of whether it actually works. I don't have any direct experience with it, but if you do, tell me in the comments and whether you've been able to see the results of whether it's working or not. I know some people are not sure if they should join Cara or not. I do recommend joining now just so you can snag your username. That's why we joined. And if it doesn't work out, you don't have to worry about it. And if it does, you know you have that username, which is very important in a lot of situations. I know the news is coming out really quickly and it's so confusing. So what I'd like to do is make this a space where we can keep each other updated. And so tell me in the comments below, what are some of the things that you are wondering about so we can make more videos and keep you all up to date in a way that is not so panic-inducing.